Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's Dave and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today I'm looking at the Star Wars X-Wing 2nd Edition core set. Now this set just came out in September 2018 and just like the Lando Millennium Falcon from last week, this core set is another gift from my dad, so Dad, thank you very much. Now this video is all about what we get in the core set. It's not really a tutorial per se, but I will go over different things here and there. And I'm not going to spend too much time on the fighters that come in this set because I already have the X-Wing 2nd Edition expansion and TIE Fighter expansion ready to review, so I will have them up very shortly. But having said that, we will have a look, however, at the variant X-Wing that you can only get in this core set, which is painted just like Luke Skywalker's Red 5. So now that I got all that off my chest, what comes in the box? And holy cow, look at all the stuff we get in the 2nd Edition core set. Now I looked at the rules and everything that comes in here, and I have to say I'm very pleased in what Fantasy Flight Games have done here. They took a game that everybody loved and then said, how can I make this better and more interesting? And they did it, in my opinion. Now, that's not to say the game is perfect. I do have one major gripe with it. But on the whole, I do like what they did here. They kept many things similar, as you can see. We have our focus tokens, evade tokens, our maneuver templates, our range ruler, which I went over in the last core set review. So everything's mostly the same that we're used to. However, major additions to the game is charge tokens, force tokens, and then the cards and stuff like that. And not only do we have some new tokens and upgraded cards, but the models are different as well. Now for the TIE Fighters, they look identical to the ones we got before. I may be wrong about that, but the X-Wing is a brand new model and the wings open and close, and we're going to take a look at that later, but that blows my mind. I think they went above and beyond with that aspect of the game. So you might be asking yourself, Dave, what don't you like about the game? One thing, and that is they changed the aspects of the ship cards and upgrade cards. So one, they don't tell you how many points the ship is. And two, the ships don't tell you what upgrades it can take. Like, yes, it comes with quick build cards to get you started quickly. However, if you want to upgrade, say, a TIE Fighter with a special upgrade card and you don't know if it goes, well, you better get on the computer or download the app ASAP because that's the only way you're finding out what upgrades go with each ship. And to me, it's a 50-50. On one hand, if you want to have some fun with some friends, you're going to have to rely on the quick build cards, unless you want to go the night before or an hour before and go on the app and just custom build a squad real quick. So that could be a pain in the nuts. But on the other side of the fence, I fully understand why they did this. In the last X-Wing, many ships came out, and they had to keep altering the rules and changing things. This makes it so that when they keep releasing ships, if there's any modifications that need to happen, they can do it on their end, and all of a sudden, boom, it's upgraded on the computer. Boom, it's upgraded on the app, and everybody's linked and has the same set of rules, which is actually pretty nice. But I recommend you go on the computer, download the PDFs, stay up on the game. And I did download the app. I wanted to see what all the hoot and holler was about. You put your collection in the system, and then all your cards are there. So it tells you what goes with what. And, you know, I would make things a little different, but for the most part, I think it works well for what it's meant to do. So if you want to, go check that out, because you might need it. So that does it for my rant. I'm sorry I got off on a little tangent there talking about everything, but I'm just so excited about everything in here. So now let's have a closer look of what comes in a set. Alright, now it's time for the dial token roll call. 3 maneuver dials, and I have to say I really enjoy the upgraded dials here. Very cool. 8 ship tokens, which are double-sided. 4 focus tokens. 3 evade tokens. 3 critical damage tokens. 5 stress tokens, 3 ion tokens, 6 lock tokens, which number 1 through 6, 4 shield tokens, 1 disarm token, 2 force charge tokens. Yes, the force is now a part of X-Wing, and these are pretty cool because depending on your upgrade card, the force user can do many different things, including change the outcome of a dice roll, which is pretty awesome. 6 standard charge tokens. Now these are awesome as well, and I love the aspect of the game. Basically you have upgrade cards or ship abilities, which these are carried onto the cards. Now if you use a proton torpedo, boom, you lose one. And then every so often you could get one back. And that is awesome. That means you just can't go around firing tons of torpedoes or special abilities. There's limits. And that's awesome. It adds a little realism to the game, if you will. One range ruler. Now this is probably the most important piece of cardboard in the whole set. You need it for many things. First of all, you need this to even set up the game. Placing obstacles such as asteroids or even your ships needs the range ruler. Second, it's used to tell the distance between two ships or objects. And third, and most importantly, it's used for attacking. Now, just like in version 1.0, you match the front arc to the closest arc of the TIE Fighter, and then you could attack like that. Not much has changed there. However, one cool thing is, the closer a ship is, theoretically, you could have range bonuses for how close you are to your target. So that's awesome. So in short, a very useful tool. And I will say this, I do recommend getting a third-party plastic one. I have one for version 1.0, and I love it. Sooner or later, if you live in an area that's very humid, these will warp. So invest in the future if you plan to play long-term. One first player token, which is double-sided. 2 position markers, which according to the rules seem to work just like the old ones. 11 maneuver templates. Now these are also very important because you need them to move your craft. Now depending on where you want to go, you can go left or you could go right. All you got to do is turn the template the way you want it. It's not rocket science. And these are all based on speed and direction. And if you want to make a hard turn, use one of these. If you want to make a soft turn, one of those. And if you want to go straight, one of these. But technically, that's not all the maneuvers you could do. As more and more expansions come out or upgrade cards, you can do some wild maneuvers such as barrel rolls. So how does the maneuver templates work? Well, first of all, remember the maneuver dials. Set that up. I have it next to 3 with the arrow. So match it up to your template. In the front of the X-Wing, you'll see 2 little nipples. Hold it tight. These like to slide. Place a finger in the center. Lift your X-Wing or other fighter. Put it down like so. And you're good to go. Nice. And then we have 6 obstacles, which are asteroids. But if you look closely, there are bits and pieces of broken B-Wings, X-Wings, and other stuff. Pretty awesome. 2 hyperspace markers, which are double-sided. Now for these in the rules, you can play a form of the game called Escalation, which is awesome. Basically, it's one-on-one dogfights, and after a ship is destroyed, use the hyperspace marker to warp in another ship. And that's pretty cool, and you do that a couple times until there's no more ships on the enemy team. 6 dice, 3 attack and 3 defensive. 3 dial ID tokens. And finally, a whopping 18 ship ID tokens, number 1 through 6. Holy moly. So that does it for all the tokens and dials. So now let's take a look at the cards. Alright, let's get started with the upgrade cards. Like always, I'll go over the name of the card. And then if you would like to read the paragraph and the different information, by all means, pause the video and continue when you're done. First up, we have Elusive, Outmaneuver, Predator, 2 Hidden Perception cards, Instinctive Aim, 2 Sense cards, 2 Supernatural Reflexes, Proton Torpedoes, R2 Astromech, R2-D2, R3 Astromech, R5 Astromech, R5-D8, Afterburners, Hull Upgrade, Shield Upgrade, and finally Servo Motor S-Foils Open. And this is a double-sided card. Pretty awesome. And on the back here, it tells you could close the wins, and your primary attack roll is fewer by 1 dice. So that's pretty awesome. So that does it for all the upgrade cards. So now let's take a look at the ship cards. Alright, for the ship cards, we have Luke Skywalker, Jack Porkins, Red Squadron Veteran, Blue Squadron Escort, Iden Verso, didn't expect to see her here, Valen Ruder, Night Beast, 2 Black Squadron Aces, 2 Obsidian Squadron Pilots, and finally 2 Academy Pilots. So that's all the ship cards. So now let's take a quick look at the quick build cards. And here we have our upgrade cards. Now these are used to set up your upgrades and ship cards. And they're pretty useful. Now if you want to pimp out your ships the way you want to, then you're going to have to download the app or go to the Fantasy Flight Games X-Wing website. There they have different information to help you set up your ships the way you want to. So that does it for the quick build cards. Now let's quickly take a look at the damage deck before we check out the stands and those beautiful models. And finally, we have our damage cards. Now there are 33 of these bad boys, so I'm not going to go through them all. However, sometimes while you're playing the game, you know, your shields are gone, you take a hit, and it's a critical hit, you got damaged. So usually you get these cards face down, but sometimes you got to flip them over. And let's see some damage effects here. Weapons failure. Well, you perform an attack, roll 1 fewer attack die. Damn, that stinks. That could really ruin the person's game. We'll do one more. Damaged engine. Increase the difficulty of your turn maneuvers. Oh, that stinks. But these are pretty cool because they add a little touch of realism. And that's everything I have to say about the dials, tokens, and cards. So now let's take a quick look at the stands, the beautiful ships, glance at the rules and other paper goods that come in the set, and then we'll be done. Now, when it comes to the base, you get 2 pegs that you put together to make one large rod. You have your base, plug it in like so, grab your ship, be very gentle, press down, and you're good to go. Now, looking at the ships, the first one up is the Imperial Tie Fighter. Now, in the core set, you get 2 identical TIE Fighters in it. They each measure 1¼ inches long, which is pretty good. And I kept looking at the mold, and to me, it seems like they are just the same exact TIE Fighters we got in version 1.0. I may be wrong, though. Having said that, the mold on here is kind of watered down, and you can see that on the top of the hatch here. I don't know, it just kind of blends in with the rest of the mold. Be that as it is, I will say it is very nicely detailed regardless. You can see the solar array wings, their wind braces, blaster cannons, transparent steel viewport, the pylons, everything's there that should be, even the ion engines. All in all, nice looking craft. Now in the terms of paint, we have 5 different colors here. The main color is a nice blue. We have black for the solar arrays, glossy black and gray for the viewport, and an orange color for the blaster cannons. And that's all covered with a nice black wash, which makes all the detail pop and really brings this model to life. So if you would like to see a more detailed review of the TIE Fighter from the 2nd edition set, please click the link in the description below. The next ship we have is the T-65 X-Wing. Now this particular X-Wing is an exclusive to the core set in regards to its paint job. It resembles Luke Skywalker's Red 5. And I think they did a decent job. As we can see, paint-wise, there's about 8 different colors here. Glossy black and a dark bluish gray for a canopy. And that came out great. Paint's a little off right there, but it's not too bad. We are zoomed in really close. We have red, yellow, and that canopy blue scattered throughout all the little designs here. And I think that looks great, especially on the bottom. Pretty cool. Now we do have black on the back for the engines. And a black wash coats the whole ship. And when the black wash goes on top of the main color, which is a nice grayish tan, it really brings out all the details you can see here and really makes the ship pop. And this is a brand new mold made for the 2nd edition. And we've seen it before. It was in Saw's Renegades pack. And just like Saw's Renegades X-Wing, these new X-Wings have openable wings, which is amazing. You can see the black wash in there, highlighting all those hoses and pipes. Fantastic stuff. I never would have thought in a million years we would have tiny X-Wings and other ships with moving parts. That is amazing. So if you would like to see a more in-depth review of this particular model, click the link in the description below for the T-65 X-Wing 2nd edition expansion pack. So that does it for all the stands and ships. I think the core set comes with some nice little models, especially the T-65 X-Wing. For me, this ship makes it worth it. I love this thing so much. So now let's go over the rules and other paper goods that come with the set, and then we'll be done. Now before we get to the rules, the first piece of paper that comes in the set is basically a commercial explaining that you could buy the upgrade sets for the Empire, Scum and Villainy, and the Rebel Alliance, so that way you could use your old models. And on the back, it's basically telling you to buy more models. Now second, we have a little booklet here, and in the booklet is all the games that Fantasy Flight Games makes. So ranging from Star Wars to fantasy, to science fiction. Some pretty interesting games in here. I'll just stick to Star Wars, though. I don't really have a lot of people to play this stuff with. And then all the stuff you can buy to add to your collection, like card protectors and whatnot. Basically, buy more stuff! And now we have the Rulebook. And I love Fantasy Flight Games rulebooks. They're very nice, very colorful, and easy to understand. So, opening the first page, we have everything that comes in the core set on the right-hand side, and basic introduction stuff, as it says at the top, how to assemble the stand, the dials, and the bases. So that's pretty cool. Next page, it's everything you need to know about setting up the game. Using the range ruler, the board itself, stuff like that. Next we have how to actually play, and it's basic rules, the maneuver dials, or templates I should say over here. You know, stuff like that. Next we have attack dice, firing arcs, so that's always cool. The dice are really interesting too. The next page, it's all easy to understand stuff, everything's broken down, it's all additional rules. And then we have focus tokens, evade, it breaks everything down for you. Next page, this stuff is very important. It tells you about upgrade cards and then some new tokens like the charge and force charge tokens, which are awesome. So that's great. And then next, we have squad building. Right over here, so that's very important. More tokens on this side. Pretty cool. And then down here, you can see that the little dial ID tokens actually go into the case for the dials if you want to buy them. So that's pretty cool. And then here's Escalation. I really want to play this. That sounds really fun. And then everything afterwards is for all the expansions. Right here it says Beyond the Core Set. So from this point on, it's all stuff that isn't in the set. But a sneak peek at things to come. Such as rotating turrets, we'll see that with the Y-Wing and the Millennium Falcon, tractor tokens, and different things, especially docking, we saw that with the Falcon, and that's basically it. The last page, just a nice run through of all the different tokens and list of actions, pretty awesome stuff. And then finally, to conclude the video, we have the Quickstart Rules, which are 4 beautifully colored pages with brief rules broken down so you can start a game quickly. So the first page, we have how to assemble the stands and play area setup, which is awesome. Turning over should be all the basic rules broken down to get you playing fast. Here we have obstacles, dice, maneuvers. And the last page just continues with the evade, barrel rolls, target locks, and all that stuff. Pretty nice, and definitely need it if you want to have a quick, fun game. And that does it today for my quick look at the Star Wars X-Wing 2nd Edition core set. Now, this set was released in September 2018. It's basically brand new at the time of filming this. And if you would like to buy it, it's going to cost you about $39.99, so let's just say $40 plus tax, depending on where you live. Now, if you want to shop around, you could also look at eBay, Amazon, and Fantasy Flight Games, just to name a few websites. But if you're a hardcore physical hunter and like going to stores, check Barnes & Noble or the various different hobby or game stores around. So even though the core set is $40, do I think it's worth it? Absolutely. Besides the beautiful models you do get in this set, we have some great accessories, great tools that we will need to play the game, and awesome additions. I am a real fan of the charge tokens and the force charge tokens, and I can't wait to see what we can do with the Force tokens when the Clone Wars ships come into play with all the Jedi. Now, even though I'm saying all these nice things about the game, there's one thing I'm not fond of, which is the upgrade system for the cards and upgrade cards. Just a huge lack of data. Now, I can just use the app if I really had to, so I'm not too worried about it. So, putting the upgrade crap behind me, I do have to say I am very excited for the future of this game. Not only do we have some great looking models, but in the next couple of months, we're getting Resistance A-Wings, Resistance X-Wings, I believe a Mining Guild TIE Fighter, and then in the future, it is confirmed that the Clone Wars material is coming into X-Wing. And I am super excited for that. This is a great time for new players to get into the game. There's a lot of stuff coming out, and it's only going to get bigger from here. So I talked way too long and this video went way past what I expected it to. So let me end this video on a high note. This is a great core set and I do fully recommend it. Is it perfect? No, but you know what? In the future, they might fix a lot of those problems, and this could be one of the greatest miniature games ever made for the world of Star Wars. So that's everything I have to say about the Star Wars X-Wing 2nd Edition core set today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, and if you would like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.